The Columbia River is the most productive salmon river on Earth. The salmon fishery at Kettle Falls was the second largest fishery in the Columbia River system. Our people fished at Kettle Falls for 10,000 years, ever since the glacial ice receded from the land and coyote brought salmon home to the people. Salmon were the staple food of the tribes of the upper Columbia River. Tribal members maintained a strong spiritual connection with salmon that was reaffirmed each year through the first salmon ceremony. At the peak of the summer fishing season, 1,000 families from many tribes would gather into one large village at the falls under the direction of the salmon chief of the Swahish tribe, and all people received their fair share of the salmon to be eaten fresh and to be dried for winter food.
The people come from all over, and that's what they came for. They just came there and stayed all summer and camped, You want to see the drying racks, There's nothing but drying racks there, They found a way. They all congregate there in the, like in the stick games are going over, flying trees all the time. But it's a never-ending deal, a stick game. You just ought to seen it.
Oh, there was people coming from everywhere there. Far away as Montana, the Coeur d'Alene, Spokane, even from over Flathead. Some come even from the Blackfoot country.
We named it Marcus.
Marcus?
Yeah, but these photos are address. We lived with my granddad for, all the family lived there. And we brought up on the farm there, so we just kept on farming.
What did you have on a farm, like horses, cattle, or?
Grain.
Grain?
Cattle.
Were you old enough that you had to pack any of that salmon, or are you just old enough to get away with it to eat?
I never got to go down the salmon times till I was about 15, 16. We'd go down there and there'd be a bunch of people that did stay there all. And the ones that used to go out there was Herman Jane, Charlie Adolph, Louis Marchand, and Joe Marchand. Their dad, as soon as he gets to put up his hay, he'd go down and he'd stand on the scaffold and spear salmon.
Yeah, I remember that. I got on the tail end of that. Yeah, him and Pete Emery and Alexandru, I can remember him. Dave Dean got in the last of that, But, yeah, because I liked that spearing salmon, or nothing, and nobody knows that, but they did it, because he's one of them who used to get out on a scaffold, and well, I did too, I and Earl Emery. Yeah, we used to go with them out to them islands out there, way out in the middle. Oh, Christ. and they had the spearing platform all through there, right? Spears. They had spearing was down on this cove, there's a cove back here.
Uh-huh.
It had a bunch of spearing places there, they put a scaffold out there. I'd watch them, the salmon would jump.
Yeah.
And they almost get up it, and I watch them, they're hanging there, and they just, I just straight up, Them buggers, they could swim straight up. I used to watch them when they missed that tag, but they hang there. If they jump, then they hit that backstop. Well, they'll jump higher in the ceiling,
Yeah, they used to have they had cable trolley car from one side of the river there out to,
Haul their salmon on? Did they ride in it too?
yeah, they'd ride in that cable car down. It was quite a ways out there from the mainland to the Big Rock Island, about the middle of the falls. That's where they had the fish traps.
They had a fish trap there where, out there on the island that they called Coyote's Daughter, Eden Sutton. That island, they put a fish trap out there and strung a cable out there, and fishermen would go ride on that little carriage down there, taking care of the salmon that's dropped into the basket. Then they'd send it back on that carriage. They'd put that salmon on they had a big long rope on it. The people up on the shore there dragged that carriage back up to unload the salmon.
So I was probably either still 5 or maybe 6. My dad told me that one day, I'll take you with me over there to the island. But you have to sit real quiet. You can't play around and run around because you might fall in. So we got in that there, I call it a bucket. But we got in there and he had me sit on his lap and he said, now you just be real still because that water is really, it was just like churning, and scary. And so we started on that cable down and we went right over the falls and you could even feel that water splash. We got over to the island and I had to sit there quietly for a long, long time. I didn't want to go back over there again. But while it was scary, it was nice to watching them, how they could get them great big fish out there.
And the women dried all the salmon right there?
Yeah. I remember that pretty well. They used to have them some kind of a shade over there. They'd cut up the salmon out hanging in there drying. I used to get in there and steal it.
So you remember it. You ever get caught?
Oh yeah.
That was that one trap on the middle there. That is a tribal trap. See, then they had the salmon chief, And off that one trap, they take the salmon up some cables, back to shore. Then the salmon chief, he'd give each, like a lot of them old timers couldn't fish, but they go down there and they camp. And they give them a salmon or a couple of salmon if it make a big haul, that day.
My dad was he was a salmon tyee there that
He was a salmon what?
tyee.
Tyee?
Simon chief, he looked after the, he looked after the distribution of it.
He was the chief of distribution, huh?
Yeah,
The primary importance of salmon in the diet was but a part of our attachment to the fish. Salmon was also a legendary creature that was given to the people by a coyote. In his travels, he decided which people would receive the gift of salmon, depending on their hospitality. The tribes at Kettle Falls must have been very hospitable because they received a very generous portion of Coyote's gift.
Like my mother said when she was a girl, said you could walk across the river on the backs of the salmon. That's just the way it was, because everywhere you look, you could see a salmon head coming out. That's something you don't see, like they did.
Well, in the evenings, those salmon, below the falls, this dusk come, they'd surface. You see their back clear across the river. There was that many salmon, thousands of them. Sure was a beautiful sight.
Kettle Falls today is covered by flat, swiftly moving water. A person sees nothing to remind them that there was once a 33-foot drop over the course of a mile through crags and over rocks. People don't know that the banks of the river were once crowded with men fishing from scaffolds. Other men fished from the rock islands in the middle, surrounded by rushing water, sending their haul across to the mainland in baskets. From the bridge looking north, Kelly Hill still rises above the waters and is the home to tribal members living on land handed down through several generations. Marcus Flats is far below the waters and will never again be covered by teepees and tule mat lodges. So much history has happened here, but there is hardly anything left to be observed by the naked eye. The Indian cemeteries, the village sites, the drying racks have all vanished. People driving across the bridge can't see the rocks below them under the water, where men fished for thousands of years. But the descendants of the people who fished there have never forgotten and still remember the importance of this place. So although we can no longer fish for salmon at Kettle Falls, our ancestors have never left and remain a constant presence around the fishery. We don't forget. We pass the knowledge on from generation to generation.